you guys, so in today's video I will be talking to you about some books that I am planning to read for the fall season, but I also wanted to recommend some books to you guys. And some of these books I read them last year, some of them I read them this year, and I thought it'd be great to recommend them to you guys. So don't go anywhere. Alright you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Chilanda and this is Library Without Borders. So I have my plaid shirt, I have my pumpkin right here, one right there, and there we have it. Some fall decoration, spooky season decoration. By all means, it's not all of it. I am planning to slowly get more decorations for spooky season. I'm not too big on horror decorations and stuff like that, but here and there I can have some cute little fall decor or Halloween decor. Well, anyways, as I mentioned, I think I have about 30 books to talk about. Now, the way it's gonna work, I'm gonna just simply briefly talk about the ones that I've read last year, because if you've been with me, these books were read last year, so you may have seen them on some of my videos on this channel. If not, and you're new here, then I'm gonna just briefly talk about them and tell you exactly why I think it'd be perfect for fall season. I did try to divide them in genres. So we have my literature fiction category, because y'all know I'm a big historical fiction literature. That's like my main genre. But I do have some different categories as well, such as a bit of fantasy and some thrillers, maybe one crime book. So without further ado, I want to present to you this one. Okay, this one is What's Left of Me Is Yours by Stephanie Scott. Now this book, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. And I mean, look at it. Isn't that reminiscent of fall? Now this book is about forbidden love. It's dark, and it does actually say in the synopsis here that the story is set in Japan, by the way. I mean, I've been on my Japanese journey in terms of the books that I've been choosing. Like I've read quite a lot of books about Japanese history. So what was the name? Sato. Briefly and quickly, this story set in Japan is basically about this agent that is hired to help break up a couple. So it's called, in Japan they call it wakaresaseya, which means it's someone that goes and almost starts an affair with the wife of the person who hired that agent, so that it's easy for them to break up. So that's what happens in this book. But the thing that this man who hired the agent didn't plan on was this man falling in love with his wife. So that complicates the story. And as I said in the synopsis, it does say that she is killed. Now, the reason why I enjoy this story is not only the way it was written, but the love that actually flourished between that agent and the wife of the man who hired the agent. It was so obsessive to the point of him actually killing. He loved her so much that he killed her. But it's such a great story. I absolutely recommend, and I think it's perfect for your cozy read. I really think it's perfect. And then I read this book last year again, I think in October, for spooky season obviously, and it's called The Human Origins of Beatrice Porter and Other Central Ghost Stories. So it's just a medley of short stories set in the Caribbean, and it's basically different stories, different Caribbean folklores about ghosts, and I think one of them was the scow. So like their parents must come together to answer to something more ancient and powerful than they know, and reckon with the family secret buried in the past. A tale told from perspective of mischievous narrator. Yes, featuring the rolling calf. Yes, the rolling calf who hunts butchers, Mama Diglo who lives in the ocean, a vain tiger, and an outsmarted snake. So in the midst of all those weird, fantastic stories, there's a story of a family, and this family grapples with some family issues, you know. And as the synopsis mentions, it is told by this weird narrator, as well as different perspectives from the sisters. Okay, so I recommend for spooky season, if you're into horror and you want to know about Caribbean folklore stories, I recommend. And just this month, at the beginning of September, I read this, Drinking from Graveyard Wells. Now, just by the title, isn't that perfect for spooky season? I mean, the first story, this also is a medley of short stories, and it's by Yvette Lisa Ndlovu. I think she's from Zimbabwe. Yeah, drawing on her own early experience as a Zimbabwean living under the Mugabe dictatorship. Ndlovu's stories are grounded in truth and empathy. So just a little brief summary. The first story literally starts with this woman who's dead, and it's her ghost, I guess, floating around her town and explaining to us, the reader, what happens in her culture and what happens to a ghost if the ghost is not killed different way, and how she needs to be dressed and how the whole family's coming together. But I actually found it interesting, and it was recommended by D. Ruxel, so I really recommend this book. I enjoyed it, so I'm actually going to talk more about it in my wrap-up for September, but wanted you guys to put it on your radar for spooky season. Then I actually finished reading this book. It was on my TBR for like 3 months, so I finally read it. It's To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monique Blackgoose. I did enjoy this book. I'm gonna talk more about it in my September wrap-up, but it's the story of Anakus and Kasakwa, who's her dragon. And she lives on this remote island with the rest of the indigenous people, the rest of her people. And what happens is that she finds a dragon who decides to bond to her. But what happens is that when you have a dragon, you need to report it to the English people. So the way it's written here is AN, English people. And I recommend listening to the audio version of this because there's some words, obviously because it's indigenous, that may be difficult to pronounce. And the author did a good job in, I guess, pronouncing certain words. So it was a good read, but I just have to say that it's very wordy. Like I said, I'll talk about it more in my wrap-up in terms of the world building and all the multiple characters, all that stuff that makes a fantastic fantasy book great. I'll talk more about it in my wrap-up, but I did want to put this on your TBR because we're reading diversely. So a story about indigenous dragons and people. Don't we love it? All right, next. Again, I just finished reading this, and I mean, isn't fall also the season where we want to read more historical fiction? Because I don't know, it just makes so much sense, right? So I thought I would recommend Never Caught, the story of Ona Judge by Erica Armstrong Dunbar. Yo, I just finished reading this book again last night, and I can't wait to talk about it. I have so many thoughts. But this is a story of a runaway slave who ran away from the Washington household, and she was hunted, basically. And what I enjoyed about this story is the way the author talked about New York and how New York was not the New York that you guys see today. You know, New York actually was almost reluctant in emancipating its slave. It took so long to abolish slavery, and she talks about it. So I can't wait to talk about this book again in my September wrap-up. But if you haven't read it, please add it to your TBR. I think it's also a great pick for fall. And then, y'all, I have this series. Oh my gosh, I actually ordered the 4th book. It's coming today. But let me see, where's the 3rd one? Y'all, I love this series. You can't tell me nothing. The first one is Necessary Sins in the Lazar Family Saga, okay, by Elizabeth Bell. I had a vlog on this where I just talked about this book. Then the second one, I just finished reading this month again. I can't wait to talk to you about it. I debated doing a vlog, but then I was like, nah. I mean, I was afraid that if I did a vlog with this, I would almost ruin the first one because I'd be dishing out some things that are in the first book, and I don't want to ruin it for you guys. So then we have Lost Saints by Elizabeth Bell. Yo, this book, half of it, something happened, something so tragic happened. I'm like, then what's gonna happen in the next half? I mean, you done did something that had to do with the main characters, and now you have this whole thing. What could happen? And boy oh boy, a story just sprouted afterwards, and I was like, okay, I'm sold for the third one. So I ordered this third one. Check. Now, isn't this just fall? Isn't it giving you fall vibes? Come on, come on. And it's Native Stranger, and I love the purple. I love the purple. Native Stranger, Elizabeth Bell. Now this story is actually about indigenous. I think she did start with the indigenous history in the second one, and I'm thinking this is the continuity of that indigenous story. I feel like I did great in reading a little bit about the indigenous history of the United States. So y'all, I need to put this series on your radar. Like, I need you guys to read this book. It took the author 30 years to go through, to write all 4 books. And the way these books are written, so much research went into it. And even at the end of the book, she does tell you that they're based on actual characters. Some of them may be fictional, but the events and the characters are actually true. And amazed. I am amazed by her. And then this one also was on my TBR for like 3 months, and I'm currently reading it just for the leaves and the color and the green. It speaks fall. So it is by Lisa C, the tea girl of Hummingbird Lane. So this is my first book by her, but I see that she has a couple of books. So depending on how this goes, I might just read more books by her. So apparently she has Asian, she's of Asian descent. Could you guys tell? Right? She looks white, but she is half. So if you guys don't know about this story, I have a lot more stories to go to, but I'll let you know more about this book in my wrap up. Okay? Alright. So now let's go with the fantasy books I must read this fall. So fall starts on September 23rd. As I'm filming this, it's the 21st. So hopefully this video will be put out on the 23rd, exactly the official fall date. Let me share with you guys the fantasy books I want to read this fall. Like rain or shine, I need to get through these books. So first we have Iron Flame. I did read Fourth Wing, and I know the 3rd installation comes out in January. So in preparation of that, I must read this one. Now, I also wanted to finish another series that I was actually looking forward to, and I've talked about it in my book haul. If you haven't watched my book haul, please go watch it. But I talked about the book of Children of Anguish by Tomi Adeyemi. And y'all, I wanted to finish that series, but because of the overwhelming bad reviews, I don't want to read it now. I feel like I'm in limbo. I don't know what to do, right? But I know even this one, I didn't hear that much good praise about the 2nd installment, but compared to the anguish of what is it? Children of Anguish and Anarchy, I feel like this one I can read it. So I want to read this. Then I want to read Forged by Blood, right? I already spoke about this book in my in my September TBR, so I'm just showing you. And then The Blood Trials, because I have the second one, so I want to start this series, Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. Then we have Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. I mean, I've seen this book on quite a lot of people's channels, so I want to get into it, you know? I mean, I feel like I've read enough books about like Asian literature, like I'm in my Asian era, it looks like it. So this one, yeah. Then The Skin of the Sea. I want to read that this fall. Now the blue, the green, the gold, and it just looks like it's gonna be a great read, right, for fall. A way to survive, a way to serve, a way to save. Okay. And then Blood Sign. I want to read Blood Sign by Deborah Falai. I don't know, but the cover is beautiful. Again, colors are awesome. So I want to read this as well for this fall. And now the rest, I have actually some thriller books that I want to mention here. So allegedly, I heard a lot of people also talk about this book. I read Monday's Not Coming, and ever since then I decided to not only order this book, I ordered this book because I was like, okay, I loved Monday's Not Coming, so let's see, let's get into this as well. So I think this is also perfect for fall. I mean, it's thriller, right? It is thriller, I think. And then we have Never Tell by Stacey Abrams, writing as Selena Montgomery. Oh, that's her pen name. But yeah, Never Tell. I think this is a crime fiction. Criminal psychologist Erin Abbott wants nothing more than to live a quiet life. That means no danger, no intrigue, and absolutely no romance. Oh. But Erin suspects a serial killer is roaming New Orleans. Her investigation throws her straight into the arms of the man who can help her. There, right? It has a little bit of romance, crime, it's obviously fall vibe. It gives you fall vibes already. So, and then look at this. Just look at the colors. Oh, it looks like it's a dark romance book, but it's not. It's just a thriller book. But the cover is gorgeous, y'all. Look at it. So it's her daughter's mother. It is a thriller, y'all. I read the synopsis and it was like, okay, there are two characters here, but let me just read from Katia, a student. So Katia is the yin to Lana's yang, a free spirit who lives life at the edge. And for pragmatic Lana, she's a breath of fresh air and a welcome distraction from her painful breakup with her baby's father. Then, just as suddenly as Katia entered Lana's life, she disappears, and Lana might have been the last person to see her before she went missing. Yo, okay. Woohoo! And then this book, I think it came out last year, but I remember Tangible Reads. She actually mentioned this book. She read this book last year. So y'all know I'm not really into horror, but it looked like it wasn't You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I didn't think it was gonna be that scary, so I ordered. Plus I wanted the edge, the beautiful edge there. So I decided that I would, try. If I get too scared, I'll DNF it, and that will be my first DNF because I don't DNF books. I just don't. But yeah, You're Not Supposed to Die by Kaylin Barron. Barron. So now, lastly, it's my historical fiction literature that I want to recommend to you guys, and I have not read them yet. So we have Lisa Scottline. She's a best-selling author, and it's Eternal. I mean, I looked at it, and although it looks like it's summer, I mean, for me, it's just giving me, like, I wanna read this by a fire camp and just get immersed in this story. And briefly, what it says, without reading the whole thing: Marco and Sandro Elizabeth grow up as best friends despite their differences. Elizabetta is a feisty beauty who dreams of becoming a novelist. Marco, the brash and athletic son in a family of professional cyclists. And Sandro, a Jewish mathematics prodigy. Their friendship ripens to romance, and both Sandro and Marco hope to win Elizabeth's heart. Oh, do we have a love triangle here? Okay. But in the autumn of 1937, in the autumn, like, how perfect is that? See, I knew it was giving fall vibe. I don't even remember the reading this because I hauled it last year, but look, perfect, right? Autumn. Anyways, so in the autumn of 1937, Mussolini leads Italy down a dark path and enacts a barrage of anti-Semitic laws. World War II erupts, and all that Elisabetta, Marco, and Sandro hold dear, their families, their homes, and their bond to one another, is tested in ways they could never have imagined. Yes. What? Why didn't I put this in my September TBR? You know why? Because we're still summer. This is gonna be perfect for October, like when we're in fall, Yes. Then what speaks better than Love Other Words by Christina Lauren? I did read, True Experiments? The Soulmate Equation, that's the book I read by her. So this will be my second book by her. And I mean, I think you guys have already seen this book, but it does speak fall. I mean, look at the books, look at the coffee, tea, and the trees and the cabin. It's perfect for fall. So a dynamic love story will restore anyone's faith in love. That's all I'm saying. And next, I want to read Daughter of a Queen. I mean, perfect. It just looks good. It looks like it's just giving me fall vibe, like historical fiction, even though I read it all year long, but I think it's really perfect. What is this? Let me just read you a blurb by Kristen Hanna. I have yet to read her book, but I heard about The Nightingale. It's in my cart. I'm planning to read that particular book by her, and maybe if I vibe with her writing, I will get the next book. So Daughter of a Queen is Sarah Bird at her very best. Witty, heartbreaking, and deeply honest. The carefully researched, richly imagined story of Kathy Williams is a beautiful reminder of a forgotten part of women's history. You'll be swept away by the passion and power of this remarkable, trailblazing woman who risked everything to follow her own heart. What more do you want from a book for fall?
What more do you want from me?
If this does not speak cozy and blanket and latte and whatever, I don't know what does, but perfect. Can't wait to get in this. And the fact that I was just literally looking at my pile of books and I kept just yeah, I think this would be good. Yeah. I couldn't even remember the synopsis because I know I read the synopsis of these books when I first saw them last year. But something just told me, yeah, pick that. Yeah, that looks more fallish. And now that I read the synopsis, I'm like, I know why. And look at this purple cover. Woo! And it says The Book of Everlasting Things. Yo, I read The Midnight Library, I think by Matt Higgins or no. Anyways, I can post a picture of it, but it was The Midnight Library, and it was actually an interesting pick, because it was the book that the book club ladies picked, so it was really interesting. And in fact, I recently read another book about library. I don't understand why I didn't add it. Where is it? This one, y'all. I don't even know why I didn't add this. So it's actually The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox. I meant to actually add it. I mean, look at the green. And this book, I read it in August, and I think you actually should read it for spooky season, for the fall, because it happens in like England, Abbey, English weather. It's foggy, it's rainy all the time, and it has ghosts and it has libraries. So I'm so sorry, but please add this to your fall season because it's perfect for spooky and fall season. So let's just read one of the praises. It says, The Book of Everlasting Things. Spanning generations and continents, Malhotra's debut is both thought-provoking and deliciously romantic. The Book of Everlasting Things will awaken your senses and leave you captivated until the last page. Well, that's all I need. So, then just a couple more books. So we have Jennifer Chiaverin, The Woman's March. Now, if you look at the outfits, doesn't that speak fall? It's definitely not summer, and it's way too warm for winter, but So I thought this would also be a perfect read for the fall. So let's read a little praise here. This fictionalized version of real-life heroes is told with prose that ranges from forthright to eloquent, and the focus on the road to war and evolving attitudes regarding fascism and Nazism is exceptionally insightful, making for a sweeping and memorable World War II novel. There you have it. Then we have another, looks like a book thing. It's Patty Callahan Henry, and it's The Secret Book of Flora Lee. I mean, it has book, and look at the green. Come on, focus. Look at the colors, the flowers, and it has book. So if that does not say fall, I don't know what does. But let's read a praise here. A spellbinding tale of hope and perseverance. It reminds us that a happily ever after isn't out of reach, so long as we heed the tiny voice within, whispering that the real magic of the story may be closer than we think. Okay, I'm the best. I chose some great fall books. I'm the best. Okay, can't wait to get into those books, y'all. Ooh. Next, we have Women of Intelligence by Karen Tanabe. So I read this book, The Diplomat's Daughter by Karen Tanabe, and I was like, okay, she's not my author, she's an author for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna read her book. Let's just read a little synopsis, not synopsis, but a little praise from Sarah Blake. She says, what a delicious skein of secrets Tanabe has spooled in a woman of intelligence, somehow entwining the lies it takes to sustain the fiction of happy motherhood with the lies it takes to work as a covert operative for the FBI in 1954 at the height of the McCarthy hearings. Katarina Edgeworth's awakening into the gray area of patriotic action is prescient, relevant, and above all, deeply satisfying. I loved diving into this world. Damn, perfect. Then we have All We Were Promised. Yo, this is fall. Like, duh. This is just, it's fall. It's all fall. Like, look at the cover, the leaves, the green. Look. So, it's Ashton Lattimore. There's nothing on the back. Wow. Okay. Let's just read a little synopsis here. The path of three young black women in pre-Civil War Philadelphia unexpectedly and dangerously collide in this debut novel inspired by the explosive history of a divided city. There you go. This, even if it wasn't for the story, this was definitely the cover. It vibes with fall. It vibes with fall. Next, I have Behold the Dreamers, Mbolo Mbue. Again, this book was recommended to me by Direxel, and y'all know I need to have some African literature every month. I mean, if I could have 10 African literature books and the other ones were like 1 or 2, I'd have it, but somehow I can't find them. I mean, I cannot. That is in my genre. I don't know. But anyway, so this is an author that's Cameroonian. Let's just read a little synopsis here. Who is this Mbolo Mbue and where has she been hiding? Her writing is startlingly beautiful, thoughtful, and both timely and timeless. She's taking on everything from family to the Great Recession to immigration, while deftly reminding us what it means to truly believe in the American dream. Already that reminds me of the other book that I read, which was Daughter in Exile by B.C. Ajapon. So the fact that she mentioned the American dream, I am already thinking that it's gonna have some similarities to the Daughters in Exile. And I read that book, I believe was it August or July? One of those months. But I can't wait to dive in. All right, 3 more books, y'all. 3 more books. What more? What better book speaks of fall and cozy and, being in bed and covering yourself with a cozy, warm, comfortable blanket? How about All the Lonely People? Doesn't that just sound almost melancholic? And usually during fall, if not the winter, you have all those, the winter blues. Maybe you might have some fall blues. I don't know, but I just thought this was also perfect for, for fall. It's by Mike Gale, a book that is perfect for the times we live in, but also one to treasure for many years to come. Mike Gale is in world beating from All the Lonely People. It's the right book at the right time and you're going to love it. Okay, that's it. Then next we have another book. Is this African? So it's The Deep River Solomon with David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. Yetu holds the memories for her people. Her people, the Wajinru, descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners, live idyllic lives in the deep. Their pasts, too painful to be remembered regularly, is forgotten by everyone save one. The memories, harrowing and wonderful, traumatic and terrible, are destroying Yetu, and so she flees to the surface, escaping her expectations and responsibilities, and discovers a world the Wajinru what Jinru left behind long ago. So see, so this it has some fantastical aspects, and Africa is in it, and you have ghost and slavery, a little bit of that historical aspect to it. Perfect for fall. Perfect. And lastly, we have New York Times bestseller, The House Girl by Tara Conklin. Am I saying this correctly? Oh, she's white. She's white. So let me see why she's on my TBR for fall. Lena Sparrow is an ambitious young lawyer working on a historical class action suit seeking reparations for the descendants of American slaves. Josephine is a 17-year-old house slave who tends to the mistress of a Virginia tobacco farm, an aspiring artist named Luan Bell. Alternating between antebellum Virginia and modern-day New York, The House Girl is a searching tale of art, history, love, and secrets that intertwines the stories of two remarkable women. You got women, you got history, you got slaves there. You know, it said, I'm done. This is why I picked up the book. All right, you guys. So that concludes all the books I want to read for fall. So that means all these books, I need to read them from now on till December 21st, because winter starts on December 22nd. So that means I have to get winter books. Okay, but anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you actually have added some books to your own TBR. And if you have any recommendations that you think I would love to read or I would enjoy, please don't forget to put them in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And in the meantime, please, happy fall, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you in my next video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Ciao.